Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into a daily live stream. Today we're going to talk about decentralized science. We're also going to go over several different projects and investment opportunities that I think have very outsized return opportunities. I think right now is one of the best times in the market to get in and accumulate. Now, that is my personal opinion and not personalized financial advice, as I have no idea what personalized financial situation you are in, but broadly speaking, we're in a really good spot, in my opinion. So today we're going to go over decentralized science, a bunch of things that Bill, the DeSci agent, my AI agent, which does have its own token, has pulled out for us to talk about on the live stream. And then, of course, we're going to talk about that $5 billion rug pull that happened over the weekend and where global liquidity currently is. Because if you look at global liquidity, I'll give you guys a little hopium to start the day off. If you look at global liquidity, it does look like we just hit the bottom for Bitcoin. And if you do believe that Bitcoin is a monetary tool to absorb some of the excess liquidity in the markets, then we should be hitting all-time highs closer to July of this year, which is really, really exciting. We also saw that the Fed came out and said that they would absolutely be prepared to aid the market if needed. They said explicitly they were absolutely ready to help stabilize markets if needed. Those are top officials from the Fed. So again, just like planned, just like what we've been talking about for months, it does appear that everything is lining up perfectly for that final rally in crypto. This time, potentially with QE, which means there's more of a likelihood that altcoin season actually happens. Oh my goodness, altcoin season. It's the dreaded words that we've been saying for 3 years. We've all been waiting for altcoin season. Honestly, it felt like we were waiting for altcoin season last cycle and it didn't ever happen, but times change. Times change, markets change. Let's go to the live chat and say good morning to everyone who is in here with us. What's good, two-reader? Welcome in, King Alexander. How's it going, DeSci? Happy to have you here. C90, MK, David, Dr. Crypto. Welcome into another daily live. I'm a little bit winded because I was sitting there looking in the mirror going, yeah, trying to get myself hyped up for the live stream. Also, I've been toying around with some different nootropics, right? So right now, what's good, Wild Africa? I got some coffee in this mug. You can't really see it, but I got a little bit of coffee left. This is mushroom coffee. So it has different mushrooms inside of it, along with some natural coffee, right? Organic coffee. And it is honestly really been good the last week. I've been having it as my second cup of coffee for the day because I am addicted to caffeine. But I've been noticing it's like allowing me to stay hyperfixated on one task and not have ADHD brain where I just jump around looking for thing to thing. So that's been nice. I've also been doing these loosey-goosey pouches instead of nicotine pouches. Now I still do nicotine pouches, but I've been replacing one of my 3 a day with this, and that is also a nootropic with ashwagandha, L-theanine, and a couple other things in it. So I'm trying to get myself off of the addictions and onto better life skills. I don't know what you would call them, but better habits for my own health. Now, let's take a look at what's been going on in the market. So on Friday, I told you guys that over the weekend, I wanted to see the weekly close for Bitcoin close above $86,000. That for me would give a lot of peace of mind that we were out of the trenches. Now, we did not close above $86,000. We did barely touch it for a second, and then we came back down. However, that is not the end all to be all. That just would have given me the confidence that we were at least out of the woods for the most part. We have not yet closed above this down channel, right? We've been closing right on it, and hopefully this week we can get that decision-making path for Bitcoin. If we get rejected from here, again, I'm going to say we're coming down to touch 73,600 for Bitcoin. I think we'll dip below this just a little bit to, like I was saying, get that liquidity from everyone who put their stop losses at the all-time high from last year's peak. We will see how that actually ends up playing out. I do think that if we had not seen OM crash by $5 billion, you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Let's go ahead and pull up OM. For everyone who is not familiar with what's been happening in the crypto markets, OM crashed by 90% over the weekend. So this was a $6 billion rug pull, which is par for the course in crypto. That seems to happen at least once a quarter, right? We see some sort of catastrophic event happen once a quarter. This was a real world asset that was doing really, really well. But then some whales did some backdoor deals to liquidate some of their assets, OTC style. Supposedly, this is what I've seen online at least, that some whales sold their coins OTC at like a 50% discount, and then those people who purchased them just dumped the chart down for everyone. So absolutely annihilated it. We do not know the actual truth yet because OM, I believe, is tied into the Cosmos ecosystem. Correct me if I'm wrong. Again, I've not studied this sector of crypto that extensively. The only exposure to real world assets that I have is through Ondo, and that's because it looks like the blue chip for real world assets. But it looks like the insiders held like 90% of supply, and then they did some backdoor deals and absolutely tanked it. Funny enough, if we go to CoinGecko, we look at the DeSci category, which is currently down 6.4% on the day. Woo, yay. If we go look at OM and see what it is up on the year, this is Mantra. You go to the 1 year time frame, they are currently down 18% on the year, which is kind of crazy to think that it just crashed by $6 billion and it's only down 18% on the year, especially when you take into consideration that if you go to Ethereum and you go to the 1 year and Ethereum's down 50% on the year. So if you held OM for the last year, you are still outperforming Ethereum. Yeah. Yeah. Oh God, please someone save us. Now, we're going to talk about a lot of things on the live stream. I'm curious if you guys were affected by this, and I do want to talk about contagion risks for just a minute. A lot of people are likening this to the collapse of Terra Luna. And while it is similar to scale, not really. Terra Luna, if I recall, was like tens of billions of dollars. I know you guys all... I know you guys were all around for the Terra Luna collapse. Does anyone remember how much money was lost during that? I mean, I know it was a lot, because it had a contagion around the entire industry, but yeah. So Terra Luna wiped out almost $45 billion. So while this is nowhere near the size of Terra Luna, just to give you guys that peace of mind right off the bat, this was definitely not good for real world assets because it's kind of just painting everything with a little bit of sketchiness. The other key difference here is that Terra Luna was a lending and borrowing platform, effectively. They had a lot of other stuff going on, but what you would do was leverage up through Terra Luna and their stablecoin, and it was algorithmically pegged, and I know you guys know this, but a little bit of a refresher for everyone. It was an algorithmic stablecoin that was pegged to the Terra Luna token, right? And if one went up, the other one would go down to kind of balance it out. They'd print, if people bought up a bunch of the stable coin, they would print a bunch of the other coin to kind of balance it out at $1 and use it to sell off some of the stable coin to keep it pegged. If they sold off some of the stable coin, they'd print a bunch of the other one and then they would buy it up, right? Or I had the initial one, vice versa, but you guys get the point. They would manipulate the supply of this one, the variable one, that everyone invested into in order to keep the stablecoin pegged. And then we had a malicious actor that tanked the stablecoin, and then they had to print a shit ton of the other one, and it ended up tanking both of them, and it wiped out the $45 billion. And everyone who had collateralized loans in that ecosystem defaulted on it, and it just wiped out money because people were lending just like the bank does. They were lending to each other, and other protocols were borrowing from them, and then using them to back their protocol, and then when they wiped out to zero, everyone ran out of money because that was part of their money. Their money just disappeared, right? You guys get that. You guys were all here for it, I imagine. This is not the same for OM, so it is not at all the same type of contagion that Terra Luna had, and it's also only 1/10 of the size. This is real world assets where they are not leveraging up to the same extent that Terra Luna was, and there is no algorithmic stablecoin. So people, effectively what I'm saying is that not as many people were taking out loans against OM. I'm sure people still were because it's crypto, but not as many people were taking out leveraged loans against OM that they now have to repay in order to survive, right? So it is a little bit better. Beagle says CZ sold. Do you recommend getting a nicotine addiction? No, I do not. C90. I do not recommend a nicotine addiction. While I will say that it is nice for nootropicness, I would not recommend it to anyone. I would not recommend any addictions because it seems to be a weakness of the mind. A weakness of the mind. Okay. So there's that. Now, this morning, before we get into the DeSci news, I wanted to bring this to everyone's attention, and I will copy the link and send it to the chat in case you guys want to go engage with it. Please like and subscribe. We have 13 concurrent viewers right now, but yet somehow only 1 like on the live stream, so I am a little bit confused. Maybe the like button is broken on YouTube today, which is super possible, but I come here asking once again for you guys to like the live stream. We go live Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, talk about decentralized science and the broader crypto markets. Right now, I want to remind everyone of the opportunity at hand when it comes to Dynex. So I understand that it has been painful for any of us who have been holding Dynex. Myself included, I have put in tens of thousands of dollars into Dynex, and it is nowhere near worth the same valuation as it once was. I do not think that stays like that forever, especially on this one simple fact. One simple fact here, okay? I'm not talking about the progression or the adoption of quantum computing with this at all. All I am talking about is the fact that the market cap is currently worth $3.7 million. The buybacks that they have committed to are worth $10 million, and they are ongoing every single month. Every month they're buying back tokens. This is roughly 3 times, they are committed to buying back roughly 3 times the amount of the total market cap right now. What do you think happens if somebody puts in a $10 million buy order on something that's only worth $3.7 million? Do you think that it stays down? Or do you think that at the bare minimum, we have, like, if they control $10 million worth of the supply, if they end up buying that up, they're not going to be able to get everyone to sell, which means the market cap will be worth more than 10 million at the bare minimum. I know it's not a huge ROI from that point, but this type of opportunity is not super common. It's not often that the market discounts an asset by this much, because $10 million, even if it takes 2 or 3 years to play out like that, because they are planning on not being fulfilled with the buybacks until the end of next year, right? So it's going to take a little bit of time for them to completely roll out all $10 million, because if they did it all at once, it would just be a giant pump and dump, because the price would go up to be worth like $80 million in market cap, and then everyone would sell off instantly. But if they slowly accumulate and just slowly buy up the supply, over time, this is going to drive the price up well above $20 to $30 million in market cap. And that is only on the buybacks alone. So we're looking at, like, just on that one thing, in my opinion, an 8 to 10x on the price of Dynex, just through the buybacks. Let's not forget that they did a $50 million strategic VC round, which means the valuation there is way over $10 million, or way over the current $3.7 million that it's currently valued at. So they raised money at a valuation that is up at well above $50 million, you know? You have to drill back to the foundation for a minute and understand that this picture right here is enough conviction for me to hold tight and to sit on it, regardless as to what happens to the token price. Now, in the short term, the market is insanely irrational. I will say that this has held up pretty good in the recent downturn. That is over March and February and stuff. It's down a lot. Like, don't get me wrong. Maybe I shouldn't even say it's held up good, because it's down atrociously, but it doesn't change my core conviction on it, especially when you drill back again and look at some of the foundational metrics for Dynex. They are about to hit a total of 1 million jobs conducted on their network. And you go back to June of last year. Well, let's go back to, where should we go back to? I mean, May, so 11 months ago, they had barely gotten 10,000 jobs done. And now they're at 1 million. They're about to hit 1 million in the same month. So they will have not 10x'd, but 100x'd the number of jobs that they've done. Think about that. 100x'd the amount of usage of the network. And yet the token price has just fallen off a cliff. So as that continues to scale like crazy, the more partners that come on and use Dynex, the better likelihood it is that the coin recovers, because the coin is used for the transaction fees and everything. And so as this down here, the transaction fees metrics continues to go up. Now it's rounded over a little bit from this month to last month, but it's still increasing deliciously. It's still increasing quite substantially. So just keep that in mind. Hash rate still falling, which is a big chunk of the reason why we're seeing the sell-off, because a lot of the people who are engaging with Dynex's network are not necessarily quantum enthusiasts, but rather crypto miners. And if the hash rate is going down, that means people are leaving the network slowly. Okay, so by far, this is not a good look, and I'm waiting for this to bottom before we start seeing a good increase in token price, in my opinion. It does look like it's starting to bottom, and I know that the company Dynex is set, just like the Fed, to step in and stabilize if things get too out of hand. Just like the Fed is out here saying we would absolutely be prepared to step in if the market cannot stabilize itself. I know that Dynex is also ready to step in with some GPUs to mine if the market does not stabilize itself. So that one risk, this being the one risk in my eyes, is mitigated through the actual company. I agree with you, Dr. Crypto. I agree. I think the main problem with Dynex is the lack of confidence from the community. I agree with you. They have a very shaky community right now. And that has to do with a couple things, in my opinion. Number one is the lack of transparency, a common story across crypto, right? We know a lot of projects that have a shaky community foundation because of a lack of transparency. It's difficult. It is very difficult for Dynex to be totally open and transparent because this is a very sought after software that they have right here. This is arguably one of the, if not the most valuable public sector software in the market, in my eyes at least. I know that there's a lot of other software that's super valuable out there as well. This is one of the most valuable ones because it opens the door to the next era of compute, right? It opens the door to the next era of software developers and all of that, right? A quantum computer on the cloud, a cloud infrastructure for quantum computing where you can actually get stuff done quicker and more reliably. That is very, very important software. So they can't be 100% transparent with everything that they're doing. I get that. It doesn't change the fact that it's difficult to sit through that, right? The other thing in my eyes is that people don't really understand the value proposition with quantum computing just yet. Now, I personally think that the quantum large language model that they're finishing up here with the benchmark testing that they're doing, I think that when they go public with that, completely public that is, and go pay for publications and go finish the benchmarks, post the research study that they did showing how Dynex's QLLM compares next to things like Grok or OpenAI or DeepSeek or Llama or Anthropic, all of those others that everyone is familiar with. I think that when Dynex goes and actually posts that they are in the top, let's just say the top 5 or top 10 LLMs for a lot of these benchmarks, they will break news cycles. They will go into the news cycle because it is like a DeepSeek type moment for Dynex, right? Where they just take over. Everyone is like, holy shit, what is this? And flood to it to test it and then probably pump the coin like crazy, if we're being honest. Now, that's obviously not a guarantee, but that is what I think will happen if they actually are as powerful as they've been showing that they are. Beagle says, what would you say to this FUD? Jobs increasing purely because they are testing the QLLM. Each time you send a message, it counts as one job. Don't be fooled by fake numbers. Buyback wallet is also a MEXC wallet fake balance. I have not heard anything about the buyback wallet being a fake balance. I would be very concerned if that turned out to be true. As far as the jobs being faked because they're just testing the QLLM, I don't think that that is FUD. I think that that is a glimmer of hope. In my eyes, the QLLM being tested and spiking the job count is a glimpse of the future for when they release that QLLM, right? We know that because of the way that they reworked the token model, that every time a transaction is conducted on the network, we have incentives to people to hold on to the token more, right? We have incentives for people to buy the token to use for transactions, i.e., if they're going to use the QLLM, they need to hold on to some of the tokens. That makes sense? Yes, it does. And then every transaction fee that happens, a small snippet of it goes to the people who have staked their OX or their 0x DNX, like you and I. I don't know if you are, but I am. Good morning, Zaj. And so every time people are testing on the network, even if it is just the company testing out their QLLM right now, it shows you what it's going to be like when that QLLM goes live and all of the other people come on and start testing. And the more activity on the network, the more of a yield I will get on my 0x DNX. And so I'm in it for the long haul, and I've been stacking thousands of Dynex tokens, thousands, just from that reward. No longer having to buy as much because I'm just earning more and more and more and more and more from having it staked. So I think the first one's a glimmer of hope. The second one, if they are faking the balance of the buyback wallet on MEXC, that is catastrophic. So let's get to the bottom of that, please. I do know, and Bill had me pull up some interesting things about Dynex here. So let's see if I can find them real quick. There we go. So the Dynex mobile web wallet update and improvements are incoming. So this is their effort to allow for that transparency, especially when it comes to the buyback wallet. So we'd like to address the ongoing maintenance of the Dynex mobile wallet. We truly appreciate the patience and apologize for any inconvenience. After running 24/7 without interruption since 2022, we're taking this opportunity during this container resynchronization to implement some much needed and long overdue improvements to the system. We're aiming to bring the wallet back online this week, and we're excited to share what's coming. I imagine this has to do with these 2 blackout days, right? That probably had something to do with it, or that was just one day, but a blackout period, right? That's probably a big reason why they're putting this out. We're aiming to bring the wallet back online this week, and we're excited to share what's coming. A full decoupling from the legacy wallet container code. So if you're holding any Dynex in the legacy wallet, if you are, you know what I'm talking about, that old gross looking wallet, I would transfer that over to the new wallet. I might put out a video today or tomorrow this week, no promises, because I've been building so much, I don't have time to make as much content, but I should, because I need to do that, so I might as well just record it. I would do that ASAP because they're going to be getting rid of the legacy wallet. No more container synchronizing. Syncing times were no longer acceptable by today's standards. Good. Brand new high performance wallet engine replacing the old wallet D service. Auto fusion is now built in. No more manual fusion requests. Cleanup of dormant wallets. That's scary. I don't know why you would ever clean up a dormant wallet. Separation of miner wallet from regular user wallet. That's good, so you can keep track of the miner wallets. This goes into some of the transparency that they're trying to add to Dynex, so it is super important, right? Because then we'll actually get to keep an eye on the live transactions of that buyback wallet and confirm that they really are happening. 99.98% guaranteed service availability. That's bullish. That is incredibly good. I've seen so many services go down. Like over the weekend, I was trying to work on something and a lot of people were doing maintenance on their servers, so I just couldn't. So 99.98 is good. Enhanced security performance and stability, and integrated password plus 2FA reset functionality. So that's really cool too. Just making it more user friendly. Have you guys seen, can I get a 1 in the chat if you guys have seen these wallets before? I know we've shown them a few times, but maybe it's a good call for me to go back through my messages with Yeti and showcase these wallets again. Stay tuned. We'll keep you posted as soon as it's live. Again, the Dynex team. Bullish. Let's go. We'll repost that. And again, this was something Bill pulled from the news cycle this morning and said, hey, that investor, you should really talk about this on live. So W Bill. I love to see it, Bill. I'm going to try this week to give him the ability to summarize stuff like this. Kind of like, if he, remember the newsletter we showed on Friday? I'm trying to give him a voice to create good summaries for this. Now, it should be super easy, but again, the hard part was being able to collect all of the information on X. You should see the database of posts that I've got going right now. It's kind of absurd. Again, it's every major DeSci project that posts on X is now being watched 24/7 by Bill. And then I'm going to be rolling it into YouTube and LinkedIn and Apple Podcasts or whatever it is, Spotify, TikTok. The goal is to get Bill to scrape anytime anyone mentions decentralized science across the internet. I have a web browser tool that I've given him so he can start searching stuff, although it's super expensive, so I haven't turned it on. And there is a small likelihood that I might have to take from the treasury to pay for some subscriptions, because I pay like close to $1,000 a month right now to run Bill, and that is all out of my own pocket, and it's kind of expensive. Not break the bank expensive, but it is pretty expensive. So I would like to get some of that money to come from his own treasury, but we'll see what actually ends up happening. I don't know. I'm fine paying it until forever, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. Probably not forever, though. I want him to be an actual company that self-sustains. Yeah, does that answer everyone's questions? I got absolutely no response from you guys when it comes to seeing the Dynex wallet, so I'm going to go and pull that up for everyone so that we can see the Dynex wallet. Yeti has leaked it so many times in the chat, but let's see when the last time he showed it to me was. We talk a lot, Jesus. Okay, here we go. So this type of an update, right? You guys remember this? So it just looks cleaner. It's way easier to navigate, right? You get the wallet, send Dynex, transactions, bridge, DHIP, Q nodes, the quantum nodes. Think about that. A quantum node, address book, backup, and help, right? And then you also got wallet locked, get your password to unlock it. You got this, whatever this is, a license agreement, the send, transfer, Dynex to other people, the transaction log for your wallet, transaction details, bridge, quantum nodes. I want to take a look at quantum nodes more. Yeah. And this quantum nodes is them getting ready for their quantum chip. Remember, guys, Dynex, while it takes a long time to absolutely rewrite how the entire world does computational power, Dynex is putting in that work consistently. So the cheaper the market wants to send it, fine by me. Fine by me. Opportunities to make outsized returns like this are not incredibly common. And so I will take it. I will take it. And I really do view that for the entire DeSci market. Really. You have the biggest, most influential builders in the entire world for crypto. All of them saying decentralized science is one of the most valuable use cases for blockchain and crypto. And people are going to sleep on this narrative. Why? I don't know. Probably just due to some ignorance. And that's not to insult them at all. It's literally just a lack of information. But we have that information. Now, let's go ahead and go through some of the updates for the space. First up, we have Athena DAO announcing the lineup for their science forum in London. So this was from April 13th. So yesterday they got a couple doctors here to come talk about what Athena DAO is doing. If you're a builder or entrepreneur interested in women's health, come to learn about biotech and scientific research and development to push the field forward. Bullish. Space is limited. RSVP in the link below. I'll give you guys that. Okay, guys, you gonna give the link so we can RSVP or nah? This might just be because Bill gave me the direct link. Yeah. So when Bill gives me the links, he only gives me the link to the main post. He does not allow me to view anything else. So let me go ahead and give this to you guys. If you're interested in Athena DAO, feel free to sign up for that. Next up, we have, well, someone quote tweeting with the actual link again. So we'll go past that. We got to fine tune Bill's thing. We have thousands of hours, years of planning, blood, sweat, and tears, highs and lows, all leading to this moment. I don't know why they wouldn't do it on 420. I know the team behind CryoDAO, and I'm pretty sure they would do it on 420 if they could. So something is happening. Yes, thank you, Lawrence. I was wondering the same thing. Because this will get you low rather than high. I was also wondering why not 420. Reply. But they're not announcing it. They won't spill it to anyone. Based off this Studio Ghibli drawing of a US apparently lab or factory or something. Maybe they're starting development for one of the supplements or one of the drugs that they've been working on in the United States. They got a tank here. This is all got to be here for a reason, right? So maybe they got some sort of cryopreservation facility set up in the United States. I don't know. I'm just speculating, but it's interesting for anyone who's paying attention to CryoDAO. Next up, we have Axon DAO. Axon DAO has a space that went live at 10:30 a.m. So if you guys wanted to listen to it, feel free. I'm struggling. I'm going to take this moment to talk about my difficulties with Agent Bill and the X spaces. Again, adding in that transparency for people because I want everyone to feel confident with what they're holding for Agent Bill. When I tell you, Agent Bill is now becoming or has become my life's work. I genuinely mean it. This is all I do 24/7. And so if you guys think that I am going to succeed, then you have to also think that Bill is going to succeed. And this is all I do. This is my entire life. So in order to get access to X spaces and X broadcasts, you have to get API keys into X. The API keys for X are like $150 a month, which is not the most expensive thing that I'm paying for, but it is very expensive just to be able to transcribe spaces. And so one of the things that I've been trying to do, and again, if any of you guys know or have a resource or think that they might be able to help with this, please message me, like tag me in Telegram or Discord to help, please. I'm begging. I need help, right? I was thinking of creating a bot that could sit in on X spaces while they're happening live and record what is being transmuted through the microphone, right? I got my microphone right here, and I'm sorry for any echo. We just took a bunch of the furniture out of the room, and so I'm sure it's super echoey, but yeah, that's what my thoughts are with it for circumnavigating the API restrictions for X. But then like it's just very, very difficult to actually get the transcripts from X spaces because for some reason, X does not save the transcripts locally. They don't save the transcripts with access for people, which is ridiculous to me because Elon knows that everyone gets a lot of their news from X. Elon knows that X is a very valuable resource for builders and developers. So the fact that he would make it so difficult to get the transcripts from spaces and broadcasts blows my mind. What's good, Solus? YouTube, super easy. Like other platforms, it's incredibly easy to get it, but X is just virtually impossible, which is annoying because we got another space with Noble Blocks and Nerd Bunny here with Moby Media, which has 146,000 followers. And they are doing an X space the 14th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard. So it's ongoing right now, isn't it? Yeah. So they're in an X space right now with Noble Blocks. So let's go ahead and quote tweet this. Do you want to, can I get some ones in the chat if you guys want to join in? Everyone's got the Monday blues right now. Should we join in and listen after we get done going through everything that's happening in this for us? All right, we'll rapid fire because I want to join regardless. So, Molecule. The value of connecting and sharing IRL cannot be understated. Thank you, DeSci London. We'll see you on 10-11 of June for DeSci Berlin. Nice. Love to see it, DeSci London. We got some representatives from a lot of the DAOs. We got Jenna from Athena DAO. We got someone from Hair DAO, I believe. We got, let me see these. Someone from Cerebrum DAO right here. I think he's from Vita DAO. All three of them are probably from Athena DAO. But a lot of the DAOs here, so that's interesting. Next up, we got Genomes celebrating their 10,000 reports run. Their infrastructure. Here's the next big milestone. Here's to the next big milestone. So they're just celebrating some dessert. Genomes DAO just went through and had their 10,000th report generated from the genetic information people are giving out, which is incredible. That is a lot of volume. And it's just something I want to keep everyone up to date on. Then we got Dr. Evil with the post on OM, which we'll talk about, although we already kind of covered it. Let's dive into the algorithm for their DeScientists, the current undertaking. So quant bond is just something interesting. I'll probably read this later. I don't know that I need to go over this with you guys because they're going to use a lot of terminology that's annoying for me to read, but it's the best stepping stone for building more advanced invariants like flyer homology. Yeah, these guys are up to something very intriguing. I thought it was just a meme at first, but it appears not. Oh, God. Boo. Boo. Get off the stage. Sitting at $240,000 market caps. Pretty crazy. We'll see. We will see. And then, yeah. It's just, I wanted to, if you guys are in real world assets, here's Dr. Evil's post. Plume, Checks, and Ondo are the three that he is holding on to. OM scared the market bad. All right, let's go into the Noble Blocks space and listen live. Listen live. Let's go ahead and turn the audio capture on first. Here we go. Listen live. Captain Levi's in the space.
Going to assist me. And what are the chances that I do not really spend so much time scrolling through pages and pages of content?
That's a really good question. I actually, I'm not developing that particular feature directly with the software developers at the moment. But yeah, I mean, we do have a very sophisticated search planned out. There are tools already that exist, for locating relevant research, which is really what you're seeking, right? So it's more like, when I search for something, how quick can I find what I'm seeking? And I think, that's, Google made an entire business off of that question. So, yeah, I mean, we'll probably use existing technologies. Of course, we don't need to reinvent the wheel every time, otherwise things get expensive. But that, if you look at
USAR next bull run, what is that?
The way that science is produced, it also comes down to can we improve how we label science?
What's the ticker, guys?
Ways that we can extract value in scientific publications. Can we add additional layers that then can be used as its own search term? And maybe that layer is the data that exists in a table. So I think it's not just about words anymore. I think it's going to be larger deductions from research papers, and I definitely see that as advancing search capabilities rather than just strings of words.
Oh yes, it used to be strings of words
Will
until
Bill run
generative
before
AI
Euro
came
runs or
and
during?
all the gimmicks that came with it. Honestly, when you
said, will Bill run before Euro runs or during? I don't know, man. I don't know. I hope before, but it's probably going to be during, because I imagine when the market ticks back on and Euro starts running, that's going to be the spark that ignites interest in decentralized science again. So I imagine it's going to be during or shortly after, but who knows? I have no idea. You have no idea. Wild Africa says, oh, yeah, let's go. That's because President Trump holds meeting with El Salvador's pro-Bitcoin president. Bullish. I hope he Bitcoin pills Trump even more. You see, you guys know El Salvador has completely turned around post, what's his name, getting in power, Nayib. So, U.S. rare earth. Yes, Denmere, whatever that means. True, I hope shortly after so we can secure bill bags. We'll see. We will see. I hope it starts running today. I hope he starts running today. But he's not even on Dex Screener right now because of the lack of liquidity. Or not lack of liquidity, lack of volume. Eagle AI down at 16 cents again. They probably getting ready for their run. Remember, they've got some crazy valuable locking mechanisms for dividends and stuff. Kong down 4% today, but still holding at those local highs. Kong Swap is the only token I think that's worth holding in the ICP ecosystem. If you're bullish on ICP at all, you should be in Kong, because Kong is a beta play on the success of ICP. I also got, somebody reached out to me. I gotta close this because it's still playing in my ear, but let me turn the volume down on this. Somebody reached out to me, and believe it or not, they have built out Bitcoin lending and yield platforms, so DeFi for Bitcoin, and they are building it out on top of ICP because of that CKBTC, the Bitcoin that's wrapped in ICP's canisters, right? That has allowed for the building of Bitcoin DeFi applications without paying the absurd gas fees on Bitcoin, without the slow clunkiness of Bitcoin. So people can actually use their Bitcoin in DeFi lending platforms through projects and through companies that use ICP to build. So that is a really, really profound use case for ICP's technology. And I think that if ICP succeeds, Kong will succeed at an order of magnitude. So if ICP runs from, and I'm gonna continue to hold this price prediction for ICP. Where is it? Have they fallen that much? I'm gonna maintain my price prediction on ICP, wherever it might be. Holy shit. There it is. So it's at $5 right now. I think it goes to $100, so a 20x from here. I think that it will be at a $40 billion market cap. I really do, in this next leg of the bull run. So long as we get a really big run and altcoins run with it, I think ICP is set to run with it. And so if we see a 20x on ICP, I think Kong sees an order of magnitude higher than that. Okay? So a $32 million market cap, I think Kong has real steam to run to be worth $1 billion to $2 billion to $3 billion even. And I know that's a little ridiculous. An order of magnitude also sounds ridiculous as I'm saying it, but Kong Swap will dramatically outperform ICP. So if we get a 20x on ICP, I would assume a 50x to 100x on Kong. And that's just my opinion. So $3 Kong in the making. We'll see, obviously. A lot of things have to go right, but I think it has the opportunity too. Now, I know you guys are probably interested in what the title of the live stream is. It's time to buy these altcoins. I know you guys want to know what altcoins I'm talking about. Joke's on everyone, because you already know what altcoins I'm talking about. You guys already know. Deep down, you know what I'm about to say. You need to be looking to accumulate, in my opinion, at this exact moment in the market, you need to be looking to accumulate altcoins that are in sectors that are primed to explode over the coming 5 to 10 years, because that's where a lot of the money is going to be made. Yeah, of course, you can buy a meme coin and triple or 10x your money instantly, but you can also buy a meme coin and lose all of it, like you likely will. I think the stats are that something like only 1 in 10 people actually make money off these meme coins. And so this cycle is fundamentally very different from the last cycles, where you saw SHIB go up absurdly, you saw Doge go up absurdly. Now there's just too many of them to really get it. And so you need to be looking at utility-based projects that have a lot of room to run to the upside. And that you can't look, in my opinion, at the most common well-known narratives, because those are already extremely overpopulated. They already have a lot of competition and already have made a lot of their gains. You need to look at projects that are in undiscovered niches like decentralized science, like the AI agent niche. Now, a lot of the AI agents are down 90, 95, 99%. And that is opportunity in my eyes. Not the ones that are just there doing nothing, but the ones that actually have a position or a place to thrive in. So in my eyes, decentralized science is a narrative that is going to grow and expand over the coming 5 years. I think it's going to go nuts. I think over the next 5 to 10 years, decentralized science goes from being worth, the $500 million that it is right now to be worth $500 billion, if not more, if not significantly more than that, because of the value proposition that it has. And so you look in that narrative for projects that are continuing to progress forward and continuing to expand. I also think AI agents and artificial intelligence is going to expand rapidly. I think that robotics will expand like crazy as well, but robotics is kind of hard to get cryptos associated with that are real, that actually have implications. And so artificial intelligence, AI agents that are actually doing stuff like Yes No Error, like Nerd Bunny, like Agent Bill, right? Those types of agents I think are going to perform very nicely. And in my eyes, right now is a good time to be scooping some of those projects, especially with liquidity looking at like pushing all-time highs consistently. We have the global liquidity here, M2's money supply globally, holding at all-time highs, 3 days in a row at these highs. And Bitcoin tracks it very closely, just with a 90-day offset or 108-day offset, whatever, 3-month, 4-month offset. And so right now we're at the bottom for Bitcoin. And it should start tracking with the money supply once again. And as that run starts to happen, as we see Bitcoin crush above 90K, above 100K, above 110K, I think that we will see the altcoin market start running as well. That's just my eyes. That's where I see it, especially knowing that the Fed is coming in soon to cut rates again and stop rug pulling the market. So we'll see. Bill's coded to $100. Let's send it. Let's send it. Yeah. Let's send it. Higher, higher. I think it is. This is similar to what my protocol is doing. Not exactly though, so we are safe. Yes, Solus. Yes, keep building. That is all you can do, Solus. Keep building your protocol. Hopefully Bio, the leader, goes up to $5 billion market cap. That would be super nice. I think if you guys agree with me that we see the DeSci bull run, right? We're at 500 million right now. If we see this go to the 200 billion that I think it can go to, which would be 2% of the total crypto market cap, so long as the total crypto market cap goes to 10 trillion. I think we can see, I do think so, all right? It's gonna be a long, hurtful ride up, but I think we can hit this bubble. I do. And if we get to see the top of this bubble and DeSci gets the leg that I think it will get, and it is 2% of the market, then we will see Bio Protocol hit things like 5 billion, 10 billion, because that's the only way we would get there, right? Bio Protocol sitting at is that real? $74 million market cap right now. The only way that we could get DeSci to 100x from here, 1000x from here, is if Bio Protocol does 1000x as well, right? Which would put it at $74 billion. We will see. It's a tall ask when you're looking at the market like this. Maybe it doesn't, you know? We have to be realistic. Maybe we don't see DeSci hit those markers, right? Maybe we continue on this and all we get is bar pattern. Let's take this and go like that. Let's go here. Let's line this up so we know it's the same size. I'm just playing devil's advocate and trying to maintain realisticness, right? Maybe we see something like this, right? And all we get is a peak at 5 trillion, right? And all my price predictions get cut in half, okay? That's possible too. You have to acknowledge that that could be what happens, right? So 5 trillion. And DeSci gets to 2% of the market cap and it only runs up to $100 billion in market cap. That is still a 500x from here, right? Is that true? No, it'd be a, yeah, wait. Oh, God, my math brain. It's glitching in the mathing right now. It goes to 100. We're gonna hold it at millions, right? 100 million divided by 511. It'd be a 200x from here, right? A 200x on everything. That means Bio Protocol goes up by 200x. So you take this, 74 million, or you guys probably want to see the token price more so, times 0.045. You see an $8 Bio. How many of you guys would love that? I would love it. $8 Bio. And that's if I'm half off, right? Let's say I'm off on the 2% of market cap as well. And let's say that DeSci only manages to make it to 1%, right? And so you have to cut the 200x in half again, right? You get a 100x in total market cap. That's a 100x for an entire industry where there are only really 100 tokens to choose from. So you go through, you find the projects that have been making the best moves. You find the projects that are positioned to benefit the most from the attention cycle. Right now, in the short term, from now until the end of the year, what's going to drive the most value creation is going to be that attention cycle, okay? You want to position in some of the projects that are performing the best fundamentally, of course, like Bio. They're continuing to get adoption. They're already listed on Binance. People already know about them. They're continuing to pump out new bio protocols, bio DAOs, right? So that is a clear winner. You go look, Axon. Because of the promotional stuff that we did from them a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, or whatever it was, a year ago, and we made them one of the biggest names in DeSci. They are out there and they're living up to it. They're continuing to put in the work to maintain that position. They'll probably do really good. Research Coin, Brian Armstrong's project. Don't really have to say much more than that in order for people to understand that it's probably not going to sit at $28 million in market cap for that long. Think about that. You can get a project that is being run by the same person who runs Coinbase, the same person who has been lobbying the government for his own interests, because that's what lobbying is sitting at under a $30 million market cap. That's not going to be like that forever. HairDAO has been continuing. They have one of the only laboratories in the United States that is actually focused on biospecimen for hair and being able to come up with new medicines for people who are suffering from hair loss. All the rich people, all of those billionaires, they all have two things in common. They're all afraid to die, aka VitaDAO will do well, and they're all bald, aka HairDAO will probably do pretty well, right? You go look at Yes No Error. They have two of the largest influencers in DeSci who created it, and it's sitting at a $9 million market cap. It's already been to 100 million. If you think agents are a thing of the future, Yes No Error is probably going to do really well. Same with Nerd Bunny. Nerd Bunny is the same as Yes No Error, but it's built in with Noble Blocks already. And Noble Blocks is making moves within the scientific community to onboard people to really use it. I know you don't see it a lot in crypto, but you see it on the other end of things. You go look at Valley DAO. They're killing it. They are killing it. You go look at Genomes DAO. Every single week, they're putting out new health reports. Every single week, they're putting out new reports of people who have been onboarded into their platform. They are like 23andMe, but on steroids, where they sequence your actual health profile, not just your relatives. And guess what? They give that ownership of data to you. That is a big field in the future of healthcare, and they are killing it. You go look at Dynex. I mean, I don't really have to say much for Dynex because we talked about it at the beginning of the live stream, but they are committed to buying back almost 3 times what the total market cap is right now on their token. That is crazy. And go look at Rejuve. I don't talk about Rejuve that much, and I barely see them in the news cycle, but Rejuve is being run by the same person who started SingularityNet. That's crazy. You go look at Athena DAO. They're putting in work consistently. Riff, Euro, those two are going to run like madmen. Because guess what? Everyone already knows about them. Everyone already knows. Everyone made a shit ton of money on Riff and Euro. The degens know of Riff and Euro. You go look at Data Lake. It's sitting down at a $2 million market cap. I never expected a company that got funding from the European Union to be sitting at $2 million in market cap. You go look at Poseidon DAO. Again, $2 million in market cap. They are actually putting in a lot of good work to help with personalized medicine, especially when it comes to cancer research. They just got their DApp out. They just started funding proposals. They just got to the point where they're set to make an actual impact. That is crazy. Go through this list. Look at the projects that are continuing to put in work that are on insane discounts. Insane discounts. And hold on to them. Have some conviction. Look at these prices. You can get some solid companies right now, like Noble, for $500,000 in market cap. You can get a solid project like Curetopia for $500,000 in market cap. You can get some solid projects like Agent Bill for $80,000 in market cap. That's not going to last, and I can guarantee that. Of course, I can't guarantee anything, but I can guarantee it for the sake of saying it in my own mental sake, but whatever. CZ is a G. Hell yeah. Do you think it's a good time to buy more bio? Let's go look at the chart. Let's go look at the chart and see if on a technical basis it is a good time or not. I think, again, I'll say to you, I think right now is a really good time to be entering into the market aggressively. I think that we've not had an opportunity like this in a long time. Now, as far as the technical analysis on bio, we're still in a downtrend. obviously it's losing some steam, but we're in a very downtrend right now. So we could continue to fall, or we could bounce right here. I don't know. I've been saying the same thing. I would wait until we actually find a bottom. I thought it would be here, but it did not end up being the bottom. When the market turns around, which I think is right now, I think we're in the middle of that turnaround. When the market does fully turn around and starts breaking above the 200-day moving average, the bottom will have already been in for bio. So when you think the market is bottomed, that's when you should get into some of these projects. And I think this is the bottom forming right here. And I don't say that super often. I said it right here, I think. No, I said it right here. And we did have another 2 lows, right? But it was the beginning of the bottoming process. And then we took off like crazy. And so anything you bought through this period right here for these 2 months, you made a disgusting amount of money on. I think the same is happening here. And so I'm going to say it right here, and I'm going to draw an arrow so that we can come back to the total market cap and take a look. That was a gross arrow. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll say it so that we can come back in 3 to 5 months and look and see that that was either the bottom, or maybe we saw one more down to liquidate some people and then climbed up, right? And I think by June or July, we're pushing 4 trillion again. No, actually, we'll leave this right here. I think by June and July, the total market cap will be breaking out to new highs. And then the big bubble. But Mr. Market Manipulator can pump it every day now. Yeah. I mean, they manipulate the markets all the time. All the time. We saw when Trump did the 90-day rollback on tariffs, we like a few hours before that was announced, we saw a disgusting amount of call volume on the indices in the stock market. Like the day before, leading into that pause, before the number one, really lock this in your head, okay? This candle right here was the largest single day gain that the stock market ever had in the history of the stock market as a function of dollars. And the day before that, we saw a bunch of insiders buying in with call options, okay? So we know the markets are manipulated. You can't really do anything about it. You just have to kind of play the game as best as you can. And so that's what I'm here to try and help, right? Summon CZ. We just got CZ talking about DeSci. We got CZ and Vitalik in Asia talking about decentralized science. The thing is, nobody cares right now, and America runs most of the market. And so America didn't know what exactly was said at that event. And I can't say this, I'm being a little bit of someone who's stereotyping when I say this, but like Chinese people and people over in Asia tend to need more research and more validation before they just jump into things. Like in America, you hear of something and you just jump right in and you're like, yeah, this is it. In China, they want to get proof of that concept beforehand, and they want to actually like learn it a little bit more. So it takes a little bit of more convincing. But make no mistake, they are equally as driven by money as we are. It's just their culture's different, right? And that's not anything that's right. Every culture is different. Wait, why are you guys talking about Turkey? Easy fix, bro. Argan oil on the scalp. Easy fix, fly to Turkey for the hair. Yeah. The thing is, like, we've only had one, what is it? No, not modafinil. Modoxidil or something like that. One thing for hair growth ever. Or not ever, but in the last like 20 years. And HairDAO has come out with like 4 or 5 of them that they're selling on their website right now. So they have a consumer facing product. And I want to get them on TikTok Shop, but it's a little bit of a difficult thing because it is like a supplement. It's more in depth than just like selling a pen or selling these, right? This is easier to get on TikTok Shop than a serum that you rub on your scalp is. But either way, CZ plus Vitalik equals DeSci saviors. Yeah. And another thing that I want to point out to you guys, and this might not be something that you want to hear, but it's something that I think you should hear. If we go back and look at Bitcoin and we look at the tops for every cycle that we've had so far, and I'm saying within this cycle, right? Within this cycle that we've had for this year, for this bull run, we've had 3 mini cycles. Okay? We've had 3 mini cycles. This one, where Bitcoin went up by 100%, okay? Right in here was the first time that we really got DeSci to pop off a little bit. I'm gonna go over to Research Coin to kind of show you that. Research Coin, because it is the OG DeSci token. And so let's go back here and look. So we had back here, let's think about that for a second. You could have bought Research Coin at the bottom for 1/3 of a penny, and then it rallied up 600%, and it stalled out here in July of 23. And so if you go to Bitcoin and you go here, in June and July of 23 is when Bitcoin peaked out. So that was kind of the first DeSci run, right? And it happened when Bitcoin was topping out. The second run that we had was Bitcoin going from September 23 until March 24, a 200% gain. And in March of 24 is when we really peaked out for crypto, right? And you go to Research Coin and you go see when Research Coin really peaked out after this crazy rally. And that was in April of 24. So we had the same type of thing where Research Coin rallied up 8,000%, which was one of the greatest calls that I've had on this channel, because you could have gotten Brian Armstrong's project for $1 million, and then it rallied up to be worth almost $100 million, right? Yeah, crazy. And it peaked out a month after Bitcoin peaked out, right? Saw it. This third run that we saw with Bitcoin, when it rallied up 118% and then peaked out in January 25, we saw the same type of thing happen with Research Coin, where we bottomed and peaked out in January of 25 after going up 1,000%. Think about that again. You could have gotten another 1,000% gains out of Research Coin had you been buying in this drop. But what am I pointing at with this? What am I trying to get at for this? Okay. So far in this cycle, DeSci taking off has been the top signal for the rest of the market. So I know it's going to be painful for a little bit here, but DeSci will shine again after the rest of crypto has had their time. Because it is such a new narrative, because it is so early and so speculative for people who don't know what's going on here, what we're going to see is the run up for DeSci take place after the run up for the rest of the market. So when you see Bitcoin, let's say hypothetically Bitcoin goes up 100% again, just like it did in 2 out of the last 3 cycles that it's popped off, right? You see Bitcoin go up 100% up to $150,000 per coin. Hopefully sometime in November, right? Hopefully we hit this circle spot on. But whenever it is, you'll see DeSci coins take off with it, right? And you'll see something like those 2,000 or 3,000% gains. And you'll see Research Coin go to $10, right? And you'll see Bitcoin up at 150. Maybe, who knows though? Who knows? I mean, in this crazy run that we got for Bitcoin, in the ETF news, in that crazy run, it was 200% gains. So what if we get those 200% gains again? That would be crazy. We see it topping out somewhere around $250,000 per coin, which is a lot of people's price predictions. Either way, what I'm saying is that DeSci will have its time in the sun again. And it's been a very predictable rhythmic cycle for the pop-off of decentralized science. Decentralized science performs really good after the rest of the market is already running. So keep an eye out for it and just be prepared. That's why you position before that move happens. You don't chase it after the move has already happened. So hopefully that makes sense for you guys. I appreciate all of you guys being here with me for educational purposes only. Hell yeah. Okay, and back to the desk. IDK, why people care so much about going bald, signed not a bald guy. Exactly. I also don't care, but I've got a full head of hair. Although I wouldn't say, sometimes when I'm like trying to put my hair up and I pull a little bit, the back doesn't really give me any hairs, but this front section does, which kind of scares me a little bit. I bought the way down, please just let a leg up happen. Yeah, same. Just position yourself good. Just do. And make sure that you show up to tomorrow's live stream. We'll be live tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, talk about decentralized science and the broader crypto markets. I'm super hyped up, and please, all of you guys, be as active as you care to be in the DeSci SHILLERS Telegram and Agent Bill's Telegram, because it is time to activate the community once again. I come to you asking once again, be active. During this run-up, if you want Agent Bill to succeed, if you want Agent Bill to do well, you need to work for the bag. You need to get people familiar with Agent Bill. And a lot of the driving force in the crypto markets is the public's perception of community. So we'll see. Time's your most valuable asset. Hopefully this was worth investing it into. Agent Bill has a Telegram. You're damn right Agent Bill has a Telegram. Let me give it to you guys. View group info. Let's grab the Telegram link. Post it right here. Bernie Sullivan era over here. Yes. It's kind of scary that you guys know my last name, but that's okay. I love it. I love it. All right. Time's your most valuable asset. Hopefully this was worth investing it into. I appreciate all of you guys being here, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Same time, same place. Peace out.